What is up, Raptors community? I have just received my full-on green screen suit in the mail, and I'm working on my time and space video that I promised you before the season starts. I'm just checking out a little Raptors freak. Tommy Duke and a couple other freaks are going to see the Raptors live today, and they're going to be shouting at Scottie Barnes. I think Tom is trying to give Scottie a new jersey, a Fred VanVleet jersey for his dog to wear, which is awesome. I hope that happens. And I just wanted to segue because Robert Misovic's video, he did a list ranking his 20 Raptors and what he thought their futures would be or where their place was on the team. So I wanted to go through that quickly and segue. Be sure to hit the bell. Whoa, this is crazy, man. Whoa, so that you know when time and space hits YouTube. Whoa. Go Raps! So just in case any of you are doubting my purchase of this all green screen suit, kids, there's still an inheritance, don't worry. I'm going to recite my 20 Raptors with Arnold's muscles, the governor, and I'm going to don a First Nations Truth and Reconciliation Day jersey while I do it. So check this out, and I'll even go to Scotiabank Center. Sweet. Now I can totally get pied and have a good time doing Raptors videos from Scotiabank. Okay, so for my starters, I'm going to go with, in an ideal Greg Wish Upon a Star lineup, I'm going to go with Pascal, Freddie VanVleet at the 1. This is a 4-longer monster lineup. OG, Scottie Barnes, and then I want Koloko in, I've said this before, just for the tip. So assuming Nick Nurse is valuing possessions, I want Koloko to take the tip, and then I want him to do what Ken was doing last year and just be a bit of a foul soaker. We don't want fouls on, our real scoring guys that are going to play a lot of minutes.
Good job by Birch. And Nick Nurse wants an offensive foul. He's going to challenge it. Fred VanVleet saying, did he foul him with his face?
So I want Koloko out there defending the rim, swatting balls. I don't care. Everyone's worried he's going to take too many fouls. Well, until he learns how to play with his feet, that's probably true. But his instinct is just to swat balls away.
Only a difference in weight between the two.
Good.
And Koloko responds with the rejection.
I want him to do that like he was doing in Summer League. And if he fouls out, no big deal. We just want the other team worried about him when they go up to take layups or enter the paint in general. So he's on the court for a few minutes to soak some fouls.
Petrusev trying to get to the bucket and is hounded on the way up.
Nice job of handling that one under pressure.
So that we don't get fouls on our main guys. And also just to get some trial by fire experience during the regular season, kind of like we did with the young guys last year. You don't sit them on the bench and just bring them into practice in the 905. You play them in NBA games and see what the chemistry is with the vets. You want to see these guys make mistakes on the court because then you have videotape that they can watch of themselves. And it's always easier to admit that you're making mistakes when you're the one drawing that conclusion. That's the power of videotape. And we don't even get any touches, right? So it gives the other 4 guys touches. So this leaves a 4-long-arm monster bench mob. Okay, so we got Gary Trent Jr. at the 1. I think Gary's going to be fine coming off the bench. He's going to be just fine with it. He's going to be a total 6th Man of the Year candidate, as well as these other 4 players. So I got Otto, Thad, Boucher, and Precious. I think this bench mob is going to be insane. And then situationally, for specialized tools from the drawer, I got Wancho, Malachi, Kem, who we just heard is injured, and then I got Banton and Champagne, but we're going to talk about that more in a second because one of the craziest contracts for me this year to digest was the Jeff Dowtin contract. Okay, so let's be clear, because Dowtin was awesome in Summer League, and he comes from 2 championship organizations before joining his 3rd, the Toronto Raptors. So he's got pedigree. He was with the Golden State Warriors and the Bucks last year. So he's been around some championship players. And anyone that thinks spending time with Giannis doesn't, help a little is crazy. I think anytime you're in a good place with good people and a good culture, that's going to rub off on you a little bit. Chris Boucher, like, having a ring coming into the Raptors organization, you know, that helped. Pat McCaw, the reason he was here wasn't just because of what a player he was, it's because he was with the Warriors beforehand. So I even mentioned some of this to Robert, hoping to get his feedback, but I've not heard his take on it yet. But Dowtin's contract, for me, as you can see, the trouble with it wasn't that his pedigree wasn't good, or that he takes care of the rock better than Dlaano, because that's one of the things we want Dlaano to fix in his game. The thing is that I thought those two waves would go to Christian Koloko and Harper, which would leave room on the roster for, you know, at least Justin Champagnie, Dlaano, Banton, and then maybe another contract. Keep in mind, like, this was all before we even brought in Wancho or Josh Jackson or any of these guys to camp. So my trouble is not Dowtin. It's that I want Dlaano and Champagnie, and it looks like I've been saying, Wancho's a fixture. So who are you gonna cut is the tough question. So what I've done is I've gone and I'm looking to figure out a way to keep all of them. So the easy ones, of course, are Gabe Brown. He's got an E10 contract, so he's gonna be going down to the 905. The second player that's fairly easy for most people to get to the bottom of here is gonna be Josh Jackson. Super fast, so I can see why the Raptors are looking at him. Great in the paint. Snake punch. Nice one, Van Dam. The idea here with Jackson is that he's gonna cause disruption in the paint, and we don't care if his efficiency is low because we showed that we can deal with that last year. The difficulty is getting into the paint to create isolation buckets in the first place. We showed last year that we don't need every single shot to go in to get points on a possession. And that's interesting. I'm going to talk way more about that in the time and space video. Now, Jackson is on a completely different kind of contract. He's not on an E10. He's on a non-guaranteed training camp contract, and he's got an E9 clause, an Exhibit 9 clause. So let me just read that to you because it's fairly significant. Training camp contract. A non-guaranteed training camp contract allows teams to terminate a player's contract prior to the first day of the regular season and pay minimal amounts to that player. If the player is healthy and cut, he receives $2,000 a week. If he gets injured and is cut, he receives a total of $6,000. These contracts must cover one season, provide a minimum salary or a two-way salary without any compensation protection, and include an E9 to the uniform player contract. So an E9 looks like this. There's the E9 here. I can make it big for you. And he would sign down here. So this basically says the $6,000 thing if he gets injured. Finally, on Josh Jackson, I wanted to show you his game-by-game breakdown because a lot of people are writing him off, and he didn't get a lot of run with Coach Casey last year. But if you look at the games where he actually played a lot of minutes, he performed very, very well as far as I'm concerned. Certainly, he surprised what I did. So I went back on my NBA subscription. I watched a couple of these games. There's games where he's super dominant. So, and he's extremely dominant at getting into the paint and getting the ball up, as I said. Keep in mind that he's not a player that we should be writing off, and I think the Raptors have a plan to keep all of these guys. So keep that in mind. I think the Raptors are going to be sneaky. All of these guys are going to stick, and it just goes with that family mentality that the Raptors are trying to push down at the OVO with the organization. Now, right about this second, you're wondering, like, what the hell is he talking about? Well, to understand the next section of what I'm going to say, you need to understand who can have a two-way contract. So a two-way contract can only go to players that have played 4 seasons or less. So for instance, DJ Wilson can't get this contract. Here's what I found out about two-way contracts. If Dowtin or Harper aren't performing to our expectations, we can cut them. We can delete their contracts, okay? So don't forget that. So just because everyone's talking about the other guys and who the cuts will be, like people are getting worried like myself about Champagnie or Banton, that's why I looked into this, you could cut Harper or Dowtin as well, okay? So Josh Jackson, if he shows that he could play, they could actually, I think, give him a different type of contract here and have him down at 905. Yay, go 905. I would love to see Josh Jackson down there, but if Josh Jackson performs really well and makes the big club, we could say cut Harper or Dowtin and give a two-way to Dlaano or Justin Champagnie. The other thing to ask is, can you trade a two-way contract? Any draft rookie that signs a standard NBA contract and any player that signs a two-way contract may not be traded for 30 days after they sign. So that's the rule as far as that goes. So people were talking about maybe moving one of these guys, right? So keep that in mind too. Now, if you're wondering, like I haven't mentioned DJ Wilson, keep in mind DJ Wilson cannot sign a two-way contract, so we can't cut Dowtin or Harper and do DJ Wilson because he's played more than 4 years in the league. However, if he doesn't make the big club, the Raps could easily sign him to an E10 contract of his own. Same with Koloko. Koloko got a multi-year contract, and he didn't get the minimum, like the standard contract that a pick would get at the position he was picked. So he, I don't think, can be converted to a two-way either. But I'm not positive. Maybe he can be. Okay, we need to look into the clauses of Christian Koloko's contract. So I'm looking forward to some of these guys being with the 905 this year. I'm looking stoked. If you want to sit with me at a 905 game, make sure you enter the contest. So I'll put a little link up here. You can click on it, and you can enter the contest by sending me an email. And yeah, you can get a Barnes jersey if you can't make a game. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to show you guys is this jersey design. So this was designed by Fred VanVleet in collaboration with some artists. So renowned designer and illustrator Casey Bannerman and artist Mike Evall from the Chippewa of Georgina Island say the reimagined 1995 Raptors jersey, I'll make it big for you here, is meant to reflect the way indigenous art interacts with the sports community. Created in woodland art style, the New Jersey features the Ojibwe word Jiweden, I'm probably saying it right, but I like the Whedon part, which means north on the front. Super, super cool, guys. All right, that's it for today's episode. Cheers.
This is Chef's Kiss approved. Mwah!